I'm Vanessa Mledus. I've met me already through the other videos where we touch base on what a brand is and why it is so important, who curaJOY is, and our values in details. If you have not yet seen those videos, please go there. Do that exercise first, because otherwise this data have no sense to you. So today we are speaking about how to use curaJOY brand in your space. It is fundamental to understand that too often brand foundations are not understood correctly and used in limited purposes like marketing, comms, or design. As I hope you have understood by now, the brand and the business are the very same thing. So therefore, the brand should be everyone's matter. This video would be a bit shorter than usual. It touches base on how you should use the brand. You'll hear more and more about it in the future as I will provide you with more support in how to use the curaJOY brand in your space. The brand is your everyday framework. The brand foundations deck covers 5 big items: our audiences, brand positioning and our brand promise, our vision, value, our key brand messages, and brand value propositions. So let's see how each of those items can be useful to you in your space, in your everyday and business as usual. Starting with our audiences, who we interact with. Basically, every time you are doing an action, think about who you are doing it for. Is it for the users? And if it's for the users, which kind of users? Is it the families with a medical pain point? Or maybe a family with a relationship pain point? You'll see the decision might be a bit different. And this is how the audience will shape and guide your decisions and your actions to ensure you are answering the right pain point and you are providing the right answer to that specific audience. So now, our brand positioning. How different are we from the competition? And our brand promise. What do we promise our audience we will do for them? Those two combined are basically providing the directions to go, the direction we want to achieve, to reach in the long run. Therefore, the brand promise and the brand positioning are our everyday guidance. All our efforts should go towards realizing that far away, distant promise, delivering it to our audiences. They are basically the safeguard to all our decisions. We should ask ourselves, is this decision, is this action the right one for that brand? In other words, when I'm making the decision, when I'm undertaking that action, is it going to feed the long-term promise? Is it going to nurture that goal, that promise? Am I delivering on it? That's how the brand promise and the brand positioning are a big guidance to all our efforts and decisions. Now, our vision, how we will deliver on that promise. So from the brand foundations deck, you might remember we have defined 4 big directions to explain how we're going to deliver that promise. Those 4 big directions are basically the guidance, the framework, the overarching strategy, very high level view for those in charge of defining the strategies for their function in the organization and for their team to break that down into concrete, tangible action plans. If we're doing so, then we're successful when we are on brand. Our KPIs are basically aligned with the delivery on those 4 directions. Now, the 4th item in the brand foundation deck is our value. How are we going to deliver on a daily basis that brand experience? So it's about our behaviors. We've seen that in the detailed values video. But basically, you must remember that every of our behavior, of our interaction with our audiences is shaping a global, holistic brand experience, the image of our organization. So this is how this is a key framework to your behavior in each of your actions and interactions with our audiences. Think about, am I respecting the value that curaJOY is about when I'm acting that way? Number 5, our key messages and brand value propositions. In other words, how we communicate to our audiences. That item, that framework, is key for a limited number of teams across the organization, namely the marketing, the communication, the design team. Basically, everyone or anyone that has to write, to define, to produce any content that is user-facing. Why? Because we are a new brand that needs to be installed in the mind of our audiences. So to do so, we have on the one side a brand experience, our everyday action, the image we're shaping through them. But we also have communication at large, including marketing, including the customer service. So those functions, those touch points that use messages to reach their audiences. And like with advertising, we need to repeat the very same message, to hammer them over again to our audiences. There is a key data that is important to understand. The modern brain is overwhelmed with 5,000 messages a day. The modern brain only remembers 12. And to remember those 12, the message has to be repeated 5 to 7 times. So imagine if you change the vocabulary every time, the concept every time, what you have to say every time during those 5 to 7 registration impressions, you will never reach their brain. It's too complicated for them. So make it simple. Hammer the very same vocabulary. Please consider that the brand foundations, and in particular the key brand messages, along with the brand value propositions, have been carefully crafted. This is my job, to pick up the right words in every sentence so that you have an accurate message to deliver. You can take them as are if you feel it is appropriate to your touch point, your collateral, what you're going to try to produce. But you can also evolve it to fit better in your constraint, in the collateral constraint, in the content you're producing. In any case, if you are slightly rewriting, you have to stick to the meaning. You have to not drop any of the meanings we try to convey here. So that's a key framework for you teams working with content. You can't go your way. You have to stick to a certain framework and think like an advertiser, hammering the very same messages across all touch points. Whether you are in a marketing team, comms team, customer service representative, you should speak the very same messages, very same language. Now, most of the organizations you have worked with, they believe that the brand is just a marketing tool or a communication tool. And so consequently, I imagine that most of you might never had to think about the brand in their space apart for the marketing, comms, design people, basically. So I hope that now you have understood that those organizations are making a big mistake. They are missing their power engine, the power engine to their growth, to their sustainability as a business. So I understand that integrating that new habit to think through the lens of the might be quite hard, might be quite long, might be exhausting at some point. You might be resilient to do so, but we will be there. I will be there to help you. I'll be there to put you in the right track. I give you some tools to facilitate that mindset, that change, that second nature. And the work I will start soon on shaping a brand-centric organization will help you. I'll give you concrete tools to facilitate the adoption of that new mindset, that new on-brand behavior. So don't be afraid of it. The key to our success in shaping that new mindset is on your shoulders. Just be open-minded to change and try. That's all that we are needing here. So I guess I would say see you soon, because we'll soon talk in your space about how you should use the brand. Bye.